wood shop. Thank God for wood.
All right, good morning. My name's John Kelsey. I'm the moderator of Lancaster area Woodturners, and in the past couple of weeks I've been basically bombarded with requests to let's get screen sharing sorted out. Most of us are old guys. We don't know how to use computers. We have to learn in our dotage. It's not so easy. And it's been particularly difficult on our weekly Woodturners Coffee Hour because we've not been giving you perfectly clean and straight information because we haven't really dug into it deeply until now. But now we have, and we figured it out pretty well, or we think we have. When we go to share screen, if it doesn't go exactly the way we want, we get flustered. And then we can't find the button we want. And pretty soon we've used up several minutes of our precious hour together every Thursday morning. So we'd like to get past all that by advocating just a little bit of practice. And the first thing to practice is how to use your photo browser, never mind Zoom. You've got to be able to show the photo you want and step from one photo to the next without any problems. And if you can do that, then you can do the same thing in Zoom. But set this up before you turn to Zoom. On my iMac, my 5-year-old iMac, I'm using Photos as a browser. On Windows machines, many people use File Explorer as a browser, and they work in very, very similar ways. If I would like to show photos and step from one to the next, I can do it very simply using my Photos browser. And this is how it comes up. It comes up with my library. I can go back by years and see my pictures way back to the beginning of camera time. But I don't want to do that. I want to look at my recents. And then down in my recents down here, I have 5 pictures I shot, or 6 pictures I shot this morning in the snow. And if I was to select them like this, and then I pull down the file menu and I go new album with selection, I would get a new album. But I already did that earlier today, and here's the new album Snowfall, which I double click to open. Now I can click a picture and up it comes. And in this window, if I go over here and bring my cursor and hover on one edge of the screen of the image, I get an arrow, and if I click the arrow, I go to the next picture. When I understand how my slideshow is going to work and I want to go back to see the windows on my screen, I hit the escape key once. It brings me back to the photos full screen, and I hit it again, and it brings me back to one window for photos and another window for my Zoom meeting. Now let's go back to the albums view in Photos and float it in a window on top of my Zoom window. And I have hundreds of albums and thousands of photographs, so I'm going to just select one album that has 13 pictures in it. I double click the album, and then I select the first picture I'd like to begin the slideshow with, and I click that, and it comes up. And it will show me a little caret that I can click to see the next picture. I can also go to the next picture using the arrow keys on my keyboard. So I can step from one picture to the next, no problem. And I can end the slideshow simply by clicking this caret up at the top, which takes me back to the album I was looking at, and I can click my albums, and I can very easily now step to another album and choose a photograph, and then step through the slides. Now I'm in the Zoom call, and I declare I'd like to share some photographs. I've put my hand up, the moderator has called on me, and he's probably spotlighted me because his picture will stick beside the selected photographs. But first, before the Zoom call, I had to remember to open my Photos browser so I can see it in a window on my screen. And if I make my Zoom meeting full screen, it's behind there someplace, and if I reduce it back down small, there it is. So I can switch when whichever window is active is the one my cursor is in. And now I'm active in Photos. Now I'm active in the Zoom call. Now I can go down and I click the big green share screen button, and I see the blue box around desktop 1. Now that shares my whole desktop exactly as I see the whole thing. I don't want to do that. I just want to share photos, and here's Photos. It says Photos, and I can see my little thumbnails. So I click on that, and the blue box moves to here. And now I go Share. Now I have a Zoom toolbar up here that says I am screen sharing, and I have a green box around my photos. And it's a big green box, and within it I see my albums, and I'd like to show you Select Urns and Vessels from the Metropolitan Museum. So I click it, up it comes. Now I see inside the album, I can click the first photo, it comes up, and now I have the arrow keys to the right and to the left, but the arrow keys on the keyboard work just as well, and they will step from picture to picture perfectly well. Let me see what you guys on the Zoom call are seeing. Yeah, on the Zoom call, you're seeing my entire window. I don't like that. That's pretty common. We get the guy's whole directory over here, and we get the picture, but you don't have to do that. You can drag the borders of this green box in until all we see is your photographs. And I still have the arrows to step from picture to picture, and I don't have all the junk around the screen. Now notice that the green box is the only part of my screen actually being shared. It's pretty small here, but not to worry. Over here on the Zoom side, whatever was in the green box is going to fill the window. All right, now I want to end the share so I can stop the share. And I'm back looking at you in this view. Now, when you'd like to share a video, Zoom has one more idiosyncrasy to trip you up. I've already set the video up over here in my QuickTime player. Now when I click the caret here, the video is going to start to run. So it's all ready to go in its own little window. Now I click share screen. There it is, QuickTime player. Wait a minute, before I click share, I want to click share sound, and I want to click optimize for video clip. And this way the video clip will keep up as best it can with the Zoom, with the bandwidth available on the Zoom call, and the sound that's on the video will be shared with the Zoom call. Now I can click share, and I can start the video.
Wood shop. Thank God.
I'd like to show you dudes my toolbox.
I
I
made
can
this.
stop the video, and I can stop the share, and now I return to the Zoom call. Now go to share, start your PowerPoint in the background someplace.
Yep.
Now go to share screen and Zoom. Click the green box.
Oh, there's a picture now at the.
There you go. You got it.
I do.
Now see how you can navigate it. You ought to be able to navigate with your arrow keys on your keyboard.
So I go to presenter view.
Yep.
Look at that.
I don't think you want. You might want presenter view. I'm really not sure. There you go. That's perfect.
That's perfect.
Well, that's what I'm seeing. The full. Not quite. I got a bar. I got more furniture around the slide that I want. That's not perfect. No.
My options are play from start, play from current slide, presenter view, use slideshow.
That's it. That's it now.
Okay, that's slideshow.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And then I can use my buttons.
Looks like it. Okay, troubleshooting. The thing we see most often happening is someone gets a new computer, a new iPad, or they rebuild their operating system, or in some other way upgrade their computer. They lose their settings. And the primary settings are privacy settings in both Macs and Windows machines that allow Zoom to have access to your photos, to your camera, and to your microphone. When you attempt to be in a Zoom call and you just get a blank screen, or you get a message that directs you to security and privacy settings in system preferences or settings for the, in the case of a Windows machine, you need to go there and sort it out. And camera, Zoom is good. Microphone, Zoom is good. There is a third setting that's quite difficult to find because it's not where you expect it. That also needs to be checked. Let's share screen and see what happens. Well, where's my photos? Over here is my photo. It's live on my desktop. I can go through my folder of pictures. But I can't, there's nothing here. And I try and I go to photos, unknown, it says, and I click share. I get allow Zoom to share your screen, open preferences, security, privacy to grant access. Okay, I say yes. Here's my preference system preferences window. Here's security and privacy. Now, under screen recording, Zoom is not checked. So I have to click the lock. I go my password, unlock it. Now I can click Zoom. The Zoom app, and I have to restart it and resume in order for this to work. I'll do that as well. And meeting for all. Restart Zoom. All right, Zoom back. I'm going to restart the coffee hour. I'm going to reduce this on my screen so I can see what else is going on. Now I'm going to share screen. And I have photos, and I can share. And there's my screen sharing window, but I can step from photo to photo just as before. Now I can stop to share, and I'm back in the Zoom window. That's a pretty thorough rundown of how things work on the iMac, which is where I have the most experience. But it turns out that Windows PCs work pretty much exactly the same way, as our friend Bert DeLille from Edmonton, Alberta, is going to show us in this short video demonstrating how he shares photos and videos from his Windows laptop.
Hello, my name is Bert DeLille. John Kelsey asked me if I could run through how I do my screen sharing in Zoom on a Windows computer. So I'm going to try and show you. I use my mouse, move the cursor around and set up the screens before we share. And I also can use my keyboard. So without further ado, I'm going to do a screen share on here, and let's see how. Well, first off, I had to set up a camera here to take pictures of this screen while we're doing this demo, so you can see what I'm actually looking at on my screen, which would hopefully this will simulate anybody looking at their Windows screen. And well, the first thing I do is I go down here to the File Explorer on Windows, and then I'll go to my Pictures folder, which I have. And in here I have a bunch of folders, and here I have one that I've created a folder specifically for sharing items in Zoom. And right now I've got this one folder called Tool Rack, and it's got a bunch of pictures of tool racks. Okay, so I would open one of these up. Now that I've got these opened, they're opened and they're in the background, but I'm on a Zoom session. So now when I want to share, I take my cursor down here to share screen. And when I hit share screen, I have the options of the desktop screen, some whiteboard, and there's the picture that I had. Okay, I'll open that picture up, and now everybody on the Zoom world will see this picture. And if you hover your cursor over to this side of the window, you'll see a little arrow. If you click the arrow, that indicates there's another picture in line. And we'll just keep clicking the arrow until we've gone through all of the pictures. When the little arrow disappears, it means you're at the end of the list of files. You move your cursor over to the other side, and you can cursor back and forth as well. Now you can also use your keyboard for doing this. So if you're keyboarding back and forth, you just use the arrow keys to the left and to the right. When you get to the end of the list, the little arrow will disappear and you can go back the other direction. There you go. That's how I do it.
And as you might expect, Windows also has privacy settings that have to be correctly set before you can share photos or mic sound or anything else in Zoom. Here's how. So on the Windows menu, I find the gear that represents settings, and I find the privacy tab at the end of the settings, and then I go down the privacy tab to find camera, and I make sure that it is on to allow the apps to access my camera. And I go to microphone, and I make sure the microphone is on to allow access to apps on this camera, on this computer. I don't believe I have to do anything in Windows to get it to see pictures. That's a Mac thing. And now I can close that and start Zoom. You have to fiddle those settings before you start Zoom. And then when you start Zoom, the new settings take effect. In this segment, we're going to show you how to share photos from your iPad on a Zoom call. And this over here is the view of my office from the iPad that's in a desk on the other side of the room that's being videoed by this phone. And I'm going to go over there and share some photos, and we'll see how that works out. All right, Now I'm on the Zoom call on the iPad, and I tell the dude who's running the meeting that I'd like to share my screen. So what he does is spotlight me, and what happens when he does that is this. Okay, now I'm back at the operator screen, the host screen, and I'm filling my screen with the image that's coming through that iPad over there. So everyone on the call is going to see this full size. So I go share content. I share photos. Your recents window from the Photos browser that's in the iPad comes up with the recent photos, and they all have little check marks on there, and I want to select some. I don't want the ones from the beach, I want the ones of the woodturnings. And maybe that one, and I want that one. So now I've selected 5 photos and I'm done. And now there's the 5 photos. And I can move from one to the next by sliding with my finger. And I can move back. And I'm seeing the share full screen over here, which is what I was expecting to see. And I can stop the share. I'm going to remove the spotlight from the dude. And I want to go back now to gallery view. And we're back where we were. Okay, on the new iPad being set up for the first time, the settings are a little bit different. I'm in the Zoom call. I'm going to try and share photos. Oops, allow Zoom to access your photos from settings, Zoom photos. Change settings. This is how it all comes up in the first place. And right down at the bottom of the settings, there's a tab for Zoom. And on the Zoom tab, photos are 3 choices: selected photos, all photos, and none. And right now it's set to none. I don't want to set it to all photos on this iPad because it doesn't have enough memory. So I'm going to set it to selected photos. And these are the photos that I had selected the other day. So I'm going to say done. And now a Zoom screen share can access those selected photos. After you change that setting, you have to stop Zoom and restart it. And once you restart Zoom and you rejoin the call, when I go to share content, now when I go to photos, I have the choice of the photos that I previously selected. And I want to indicate which ones I want to see. And there they are. I have the 2 photos, or as many photos as I wanted. Now I stop the share. And I return to gallery view. Okay, that's what we know about screen sharing on the iMac and the Windows laptop computer. And we thank you. Bye. See you next week on Coffee Hour, 10 o'clock, Thursday morning, Eastern U.S. time.
Wood shop. Thank God for wood.